I can say at least 6 years in ESCO and so many other years as council member. I'm quite glad to be associated with him. He always makes us, when the going is tough or when we are getting tired, he always lifts us up by, so I think he'll do one before he leaves the stage. So, Engineer Ajibade Oke, on behalf of the Association for Consulting Engineering in Nigeria, I am happy to present this plaque for serving as the session chairman in this EGM 2024. Congratulations, sir.
A round of applause once again. Thank you very much, President. That will be all for now, sir. We appreciate your time, sir. I hope we are all having a good time and we are not tired yet. So we'll just go into the second session, which is, the theme is preparing the next generation of consulting engineers. Again, preparing the next generation of consulting engineers. And speaking to us this afternoon is no other person but Engineer Ibrahim Buga, MNSE, MNICE. A round of applause for him, please. Engineer Ibrahim Buga. Thank you, sir. To serve as the session chairman is no other person but our Vice President, ACEN, and CEO of Arup and Partners Nigeria Limited. That's Engineer Kunle Adebajo. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you so much, sir. We are glad to have you. And under your leadership, sir, I hope we can do this in less than 30 minutes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So just before we have the session, sir, I give your indulgence, my chairman, sir. We have joining us this afternoon, Engineer Hassan Kulia, is a partner with Integrated Engineering Associates. Please, can you please rise for recognition, sir? You're welcome, sir. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your support. Thank you so much for coming. My chairman, sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed. Good afternoon, everybody. The MC said he hopes you are not tired, and I truly hope you are not tired. But I'm going to use the opportunity to just ask you all to just stand up for, not for recognition, for the sake of your body. And just stretch. And remember that the topic for this one is preparing the next generation of consulting engineers. And I'm sure some of you here, you refuse not to be in the next generation. So do your exercises well. It will keep you young. The IPP is doing it. I think you're overdoing it too. Okay, thank you very much. Please sit. Please be seated. Okay, it's actually my great pleasure to chair this particular session because I think we've heard at the very beginning, we had a wonderful keynote address. We've had another talk, and now we're trying to bring it, I assume, we're bringing it all together because we're talking about preparing the next generation of consulting engineers. It's unfortunate that time is a little bit against us, but we'll try and do justice to this session. It's my pleasure to let you know that the speaker for this paper 2 is Engineer Ibrahim Buga. He's well known to some of us, and he's extremely good at what I think he's going to give us. So with no further ado, I'm going to ask him to please give us his talk. I'm sure I will not need to send any paper to you to curtail it, so you will just know how to. The next generation of engineers needs to manage time very well. That's number one. Thank you.
Let me stand on the existing protocol. But I want to cast your mind back. We are talking about generations. We all know from Adam, who was the first individual in this world, to date, we are trying to maintain generations. Is it not? Apart from human beings, even animals, they are maintaining their generations. So if we have this kind of thing, you can see from our presentations earlier, our keynote speaker, who was a senior to me, and fortunately, in between, we had a young professional. So I'm going to, what they did, they talked about the emerging technologies. But all those generations, they have to prepare themselves. Even animals, they teach, even birds, they teach their young ones how to fly. So I will tell you that this, I'm not saying that is the most important presentation today, but it could be. Why? Because if your generation is lost, you are lost. So listen to me attentively, and if you want to take my paper back and be reading, you might be disappointed. So just listen to me. What I'm here to present, I'm not here to give you lectures. You can see, this is the, as we are saying, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. If you don't prepare, you are going down. Go next slide. I call it the structure. It's just like an outline of what I'm going to speak. And the outline of what I'm going to speak, if I summarize all of it, is going to be a tripod. One, we talk about these generations, and why are we here? We are consulting engineers. And so how are we going to prepare ourselves? All these emerging technologies we are talking about, if we don't prepare ourselves, we are not going to make it. So that's the second part of it. And who are the stakeholders that will assist in this issue of preparing? Who are they? That is where I'm going to delve more. And what are they supposed to do? So these are the three areas of the summary. Okay, next slide, please. Some of you might say, why Engineer Buga is bringing slide and defining what consultants engineering services is all about, because we are all into it. But I just realized something. FIDIC, this is a FIDIC definition of who or what consultancy services are, but I decided to pick the ones that you all know and the ones that we do neglect, which are part of the issues that our keynote speaker actually brought about. For example, issue of cost and financial management. We tend to think that ours is only to design, but it's much more than that. Issues of research and development. We are continuously giving technical assistance to different organizations, but we assume our role is just to design and supervise. We have to shift. Shift in what? When we prepare ourselves, we have to come forward. If you remember what the keynote speaker said, those in finance are actually leading these things, because I had these experiences myself. The governors and whatever, whenever you come, they say, how much does this thing cost? And that's all they are interested. But if you are not prepared, if somebody can come and tell them it is going to cost less, they will go by him, whether he knows what to do or not. So we have to prepare ourselves. So in this preparation we are going to do, it's going to benefit whom? It's going to benefit us, because when we don't sustain our practice, we are normal. So we have to make our professional services to be sustainable. And we need two major areas: the business and corporate capacity. As an entity, are we ready? Then what is the level of our technical expertise? When you combine these two things, that is all about consultancy services. So next, we are talking about generations. When I looked at this paper initially, I said I don't want you to be confused. When we say generations, we know it has different meanings. Some will say family generations, some will say generation of so and so. But in recent times, we have what is called social generation. And this social generation is giving people, even though I looked at several, we have books, we have documents, so many things that, you know, as all the time, we in Africa, we always sit back until when the Western world defines something for us. Most of their definitions of what these things are events that actually occurred in the Western world. But what about us? But I don't want you to be confused. That's why I said, let me still present them. We have from the GI generation, people born from 1909 to 1927. I don't think we have anyone here. Down to the generation Alpha, which is the ongoing one. I'm not going into different definition of this, but why are they important? To know this, the emerging technology and the workplace and our own industry is having issues with these things because we use people who work for us. And those who work for us, they have different attitudes, different experiences, and the way they do work. For example, somebody in Generation X, for example, go down. Somebody in Generation X, or even baby boomers, they expect loyalty in the workplace to be a very serious issue. But the millennials of nowadays, they just feel that if they are not getting what they are getting, they will just leave you at any time. So the reason why I brought this issue of workplace characteristics is for us to understand when we employ, what are the type of people we are employing and how are they behaving. You cannot just ignore and say, no, I have to treat them like a Generation X person. If you do that, you are not sustaining and you are not preparing the next generation. So you can see, but if we take the context, what are we talking about when we say generation? In this context, we are talking about our own industry. How are we going to prepare those who are going to take over from us? If I want to just use a simple term, for me, in my time, a little over a decade, we were called young professionals. I had the opportunity attending the PD management training program. Also, I was the first vice president of the young professionals. We initiated it actually in ACEN. But today, FIDIC calls it future leaders. And I think the president is here, Engineer Yemi, who they actually took over from us. So, slide please. Next slide. So this, the context that we are taking is how are we preparing these people? Who are the stakeholders that are going to assist in these preparatory stages? You see, we are all members of FIDIC, and ACEN is taking a cue as a national association. But one of our major role as ACEN, as FIDIC, is what I'm talking to you today. It's the sustenance of the industry. And therefore, these people who are going to, the stakeholders who are going to assist in this area of preparing the next generation are government, the FIDIC as the umbrella body, then we have FIDIC member firms, like I can say ACEN or Gamma, then more importantly, the ACEN future leaders. The chairman of this session, you realize that as I progress, I will need more time to talk when I reach there. And I hope you don't intimidate me. Next. What is government supposed to do? You see, whether it's a state government or national government or whatever government, the role of government is to give policy and direction. I remember our keynote speaker talked about issues of curriculum to change it to actually tune in to what we are talking about, emerging technologies. But I looked at it in two ways. You need education and skill to emphasize on research and development. All these things that we are having, suddenly we find ourselves talking about AI. Do we know what AI is all about? How is it going to impact on us? Most of the time we sit down until the Western world came up with something, then we start trailing. And when you trail, it's very hard for you to catch up. Because most of this research were done 20, 30 years back, but we are seeing the impact now. So we have to key in at the very beginning as a government. Then we have to really, in our own education, we have to really consider entrepreneurship, which is being neglected. It's the key issue in development. It's not that I am an engineer, I know how to design, and that's all. No. You know how to design. How do you sell what you have? How do you market it as a consulting engineer? You need that knowledge. The government also needs to have a reward system that will ginger even young people to come up into areas. So when they will be curious to actually move. Then the next thing the government is going to do, if you look at the two paragraphs I have, is one, to educate and prepare, and now patronize. Recently, I was going through one document about an American Small Business Association, maybe equivalent of SMEDAN that we have in Nigeria. I was surprised to see something that since around in the 50s, they have been in existence. And what did they do? Those people, the captain of industries, the senior ones that are retired, they come down and any startup, they give them support. They also give them financial support. They also patronize them as a government. They say these projects are only meant for the startups. But we don't do it in Nigeria or in Africa. Things are just left like that. So we need to do something as a government. We know during the previous government we had Executive Order number 5. We have local content, but nothing is being pursued as it's supposed to be. And I bet you, I remember in 2014, when I presented in Maputo on talent management, I realized that even the Western world, they were having this kind of laws, the local content laws, but they are now denying us, telling us not to do it, that we should leave everything to be liberal. Liberal in what sense? To compete with who? You have to know where you are competing. So our governments have to do something to make sure that that is order. Next. So, key important. After government, who are the next? The member firms. Why? It's our own business. Government is to support us with policies, but what do we do? Most importantly is corporate leadership. Do we have any existing statute or what have you in terms of how we prepare our young ones? Are we transparent in the way we actually promote our young ones? Do we provide mentorship? Is there succession planning in our organizations? These are key issues that have been bedeviling ACEN and most parts of Africa, and which is a key to our success and preparation of young ones. Then we need to support that, we need sustainable business systems. What do I mean? I think I spoke about this when we had the AGM the other time. most of us, when we form firms, we just believe that because I am Engineer Buga, graduated with so-so-so, with MNSE so-so-so, and I can design so-so-so, then I am qualified to run a business. Because what we are doing is actually business. So you see that all you need is to just register and sit down. Then you wait for, they say they are bidding, you go and bid. But you don't have the system in place to actually sustain it. What are those systems?
Sorry, just to let you know, you have less than 10 minutes to go.
Okay. So these systems, are they scalable? How do you recruit? I'm going to talk about talent management, which is a core to this issue, and it's a core to preparing young professionals. As you can see, we have to have sound and implementable human resource policy. Then we also have to know how to market our professional services. So next slide, please. These member firms also, they need to do what is called talent management. And you know, talent management is all about how do you attract, nurture, and develop young ones. We are talking about preparing next generation. Don't think that, people are looking for jobs, so once I advertise, everybody can come and, are you looking for everybody, or you are looking for a specific person that can actually move your business? And those people who can move your business, they are not in abundance, even as of today. You have to make conscious effort to manage in terms of talent, and you can see the benefits. I know if any one of you have read a book by Mike Butchland, you know, who wrote the 1 Minute Manager. He wrote so many other books. His focus, I think he has up to 30 books. His focus is prepare the people who are working for you, then the profits will come. If you don't prepare them, the profits will not come. It's as simple as ABC. It's rocket science. So you have to do the client service, sustenance of industry lifeline. It's all about talent management. Once you do it, you know a system will be going. And it will not end after you die, which is critical. And it has been happening to us. Next. So, if the firms have done what they are supposed to do, what about the future leaders? Because somebody has to embrace. We know they say you can take a horse to the river, but you cannot make the horse to drink. So the future leaders need to know, where do you start? I coined this as seed goal, and actually it's my own creation. And we were using it in my own family. With anything you do, you have to set goals. And what do you do as setting goals? Whatever we do in this life is a service. Service we deliver either to humanity or to ourselves. To achieve this service, you need what? You need education. And that education requires knowledge and skills for you to achieve the service you are after. Then, do you just stop like that? No, you need effort. That effort, it has to be strategic and it has to be daily, implementable daily. Then you have to have a time frame and deadline. What am I saying about this? As a young professional or future leader, if you come, or as a firm, you have to set goals on how you are going to steer your firm. What are you going to do for your future leaders? When you set all these goals, you follow them one by one. If there are issues, you know where to trace yourself back. So the young professional will not wait. If you enter today, you said, when am I going to register with Koren? What knowledge do I want to achieve? Sometimes you have to pay your own money to learn some things, even if your firm is not doing anything. More especially nowadays, we have so many avenues that you can do that. Next. So if you look at it, our former president of MNSE, Mohammed Babagana, he said after what the keynote speaker finished his fantastic speech, but he has forgotten one thing about character. This character is the first thing that I actually put in there. It's called positive mental attitude. You need to have it as a future leader to be able to survive. It's similar to say you have a mindset. If you have a mindset that you are only looking for money, you won't get the money. But if your mindset and attitude is for growth, money will follow you without any effort. Then you need communication skills. Just like I'm talking to you now. If I have idea, I don't know how to talk. How will you understand me? And very importantly, recently, the issue of stakeholder. I had a very, very recent experience about community stakeholders. And I realized that communication skill is very, very vital in engineering. Because you can see some of us, they know these things, but they don't know how to communicate. So somebody will be there and say this, and that, then they'll take decision. And you think it's only X, Y, Z, that you only calculations. No, you have to go beyond that. Then technical capacity, like I said, you have to do your best. Why did I put personal finance? It's very important, and it affects everyone. If you are not stable financially, then you can see you cannot even concentrate. So when you are starting, I will just tell you something that I also started about 20-something years ago when I read a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's as a young professional, if you start, if you can follow those rules, it's telling you how to save, how to manage money. If you don't do that, no matter the amount of money you get, if just take for example, you give maybe 3 or 10 people 1 million. One of them, by the time it is 1 week, you finish the whole money. But another person might be investing and be using it in the future. So you have to make sure your personal finance clear in preparation for the future. Next. Then discipline. This discipline is all about what I already spoke earlier. You need to be highly disciplined. Like also our past president of MNSE said, you have to be upright. Because this issue we are in, the business of consulting, you are providing advice. So people need to see that you have transparency in you and you are well disciplined for them to trust you. If you don't have that, then it's going to be difficult. And talking to young professionals, if you are in the office, your boss will know who you are. So you have to be disciplined for him to know that you are actually there to grow. Not there waiting for the salary or waiting for money to come. And when you don't see any, you just run away and say, no, let me leave this firm and go for another one. So this discipline is very important.
2 bonus minutes.
Okay. Okay. Continuing education, which I've already talked about, there are so many avenues for young professionals. That was me there back in 2009 in the London conference. You can see the black guy by the side. I was the one in London when we had the Young Professional Management Training Program. It is still going on. They call it ACEN Future Leaders. I believe they will always try to project it. It actually opened my eyes because it teaches you how to manage consulting firms and how to move. And since then, I've been following up with them, and things are going. So you can see it's good to attend PD conferences, and more importantly, wide reading. You know, we are now in generation Alpha. But most people, when you talk to them, they say, oh, how can I read now? I don't have time to read. If you don't have time to read, you'll be left behind. If all you do is only screen, you see, you'll be surprised that anything you talk about, there are thousands of books written that you just pick and it will eliminate you and you educate yourself. You go on YouTube as a young entrepreneur, don't wait. There are so many things that you can gain on YouTube without even, you just need the data and you learn. At the end of the day, it's even better than when you have a teacher because you can replay. Even designs, they are all over there. But don't wait until when the firm send you to training. But the firm is supposed to send you to training, but don't wait for them if they don't do it. Okay, next. Next. Okay, I'm always on time, I think. Just to conclude, conclusion is linked to my introduction. Why are we here? We are here as consulting engineers, and we are here to prepare our next generation. The key issue here, see, there are certain things in life that will never change. Day and night will continue. People going older will continue. I already have gray hair myself, but most of the senior ones here, when they think of a Buga, they say young professional. I'm no more. I'm no more young professional. I have gray hair already. So these are things that you cannot stop processes of the world. But what do? You have to prepare yourself at every stage in life. That is why I used to laugh at some people when they want to apply for a job. They say they need people at 25. They go and reduce their age. It will not take you anywhere. Prepare yourself. Make sure that at every stage you are, you can actually deliver. And I will tell this to the young ones. You see, this is our industry. It has one characteristic. When I say the higher you go, the less you can do. I don't know if the senior ones can agree with that. The higher you go, the less you can do. Why did I say that? When you are young and agile, you have more time, you can spend sleepless nights doing a lot of work. That is the preparatory stage. If you fail that preparatory stage, by the time you become a senior engineer and you ask a younger one to do any work for you, you can't even guide him. So that is why as you grow, it's very difficult. I will close with a story. When I was starting, and that time I've already married, and my wife used to see me spending nights, maybe sometimes design, sometimes some work, I just want to. She said, why are you working too hard? I said, I want to become an engineer. She said, what are you? I said, I've not become one yet. So the young ones, I am employing you. Try to become engineers. Try to become the best version of yourself. We need support, and I want to call on behalf of all the future leaders. Sometimes we go to FIDIC, we go to Gamma, we even come here. It's not their fault. It is the senior ones that are supposed to bring them along. So if we know what we are doing, we don't want our generation to stop somewhere. If we want our generation to continue, we have to support our future leaders. And I'm sure with this small talk, I want to with me, you see my slides are only 14. But if I really wanted to talk, maybe I will multiply them. But I know the chair of the session is already eyeing me, and I want to say thank you.
Thank you very, very much indeed. Another round of applause for Engineer Buga. I'm just so happy you did not multiply your number of slides. Fellow engineers, I think we've had a good talk from Engineer Ibrahim Buga. But I'm standing up here because this is very serious business, and this involves our profession. And so I'm not taking anything away from Engineer Buga's talk. But I'm going to be very, very honest and blunt. That just as he told us he has gray hairs, and that really he's no longer the young generation. And he took time to tell us about the generation. I feel there's a lot that was missing. And I want to tell you why. First and foremost, I will tell you this is one of the few things that keeps me up at night. And that is that this issue of the future generation. He talked about Generation Z. Talked about Generation Alpha. I want to challenge us. What really? Because these younger ones, they ask questions. They don't just say, my daddy said I should be an engineer. My mommy said this. What is it that is going to make them come into our profession? What do they see? Because the new generation, they don't do it based on hearsay or on tradition. They look. And if they look at those people who are in the hall, they want to know, is this the direction I should go? And if they are not convinced, they won't go down that route. And so the only thing I think is, what was presented in those slides are what we in this hall are always telling them. Do this, be this, read, do this. They want to actually convince their own minds that this is what I should be doing. And so the first question I asked, and I said this is what keeps me up at night, why will brilliant young Gen Zs or Gen Alpha stay in consulting engineering in Nigeria? Because it's one thing even to say worldwide it's a struggle, but in Nigeria, why won't they jackpot? Why won't they go away and even do menial jobs elsewhere? There must be some things that we have to do. And I believe the solution is in what we have heard in the keynote address, the lectures, the two speeches, and that is there are future trends. And those future trends are what we must look at, and we must make them feel that if they go down those future trends and they are prepared, they are going to make a big success. For instance, what Engineer Rafindadi said is, we're no longer just going to be talking about calculations. There are social issues. There are environmental issues. There's the financial management you talked about. So if they are not being prepared for that, I don't think we are going to have the new generation that we're looking at being properly prepared. And there's another thing I will tell you personally. I know I say it's not just stay up at night. I've been trying to do. Within our own firm, I've come to realize that the younger generation actually like these issues of climate change, social issues, environmental issues within their engineering. So that's what makes them feel relevant. That's what makes them be able to overlook all the difficulties that we have faced. Because they say to themselves, okay, I'm going to do a design. But when I finish that design, I'm going to be able to show how it's going to make an impact on my environment. I'm going to show that I've put some creativity into it. I've put some innovation. And I think that is some of the things we need to do. And I'm just adding that to the two lectures and the keynote address. That with the type of projects we're doing, we can spur on the new generation. The Bugas and even Oyiloye, I see him there, my brother. You are no longer young, unfortunately. As much as you may want to be doing, I'm young leader. You are not. You are already leading a firm. But the ones in their 20s, in their early 30s, we're losing them. We're losing them because all they're doing is they're being told, okay, just go and design beams, go and design columns, or go to site. That's not what that new generation is after. We're looking, and the beauty of it is if we get it right, this country is going to go fly high because all these things using, skills, interpersonal skills, that's what makes them, it excites them, their eyes open up. Because when you talk to them, they say, I'm making a difference. It's not about my dad or my mom or my this. It's about me. And that is what this new generation has demonstrated time and time again. And I wish they were in the room here. Because I'm sure they will clap. So, we're going to take, I just added some extra passion. We'll take 3 questions. I hope the organizers will allow us for that. So please, 3 questions. 1, 2, 3. We'll go for 4. Maybe we may let's see how it goes. But please, as short as possible. Don't follow me. Oh. My own was carried on by passion. Over to you, sir.
So much, Engineer Ibrahim Buga. That was just vintage you. That's how I've always known you. And I want to commend you for the very insightful presentation. And you grew from being a future leader to being a leader now. And you talked about preparation for the future. You were a future leader. You were working as a junior. You later grew and became a managing partner. How is business as at now?
First and foremost, I would like to appreciate the presenter for giving us a very wonderful presentation. I don't know if I've missed it out. I want to ask questions as regards to technical roles and leadership roles, because these are two different distinct career paths that requires different skill sets and responsibilities and mindsets. So I want the presenter to tell us what are the key differences between training engineers for technical role versus training engineers for leadership roles. Sorry, I suppose to have told you, moderator, at the beginning of my question, that my question is a double-barrel question, sir. So the second question is, what skills and knowledge gap needs to be addressed in the next generation of consulting engineers? So these are my questions, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. My apologies too. I should have said, just before you ask the questions, please say your name. I know we know you, but please.
It's never late. It's never late. My name's Engineer Usman Tijani, FNSE MNI. I am the branch chairman for Maiduguri NSE. And MD, CEO, Mongono Engineering Nigeria Limited.
Thank you. Number 3.
Good afternoon, sirs. Thank you so much for the speech. Okay, my name is Adelasoy Joshua from Benin Nigeria Limited. And I just want to ask a question to the speaker and to the firms that are represented here. I'm very interested in research and development, as has been rightfully said by our speaker. So how do we incorporate research and development into our consulting firms today? What are the challenges? What are the limitations? And how do we solve them? Because these are the issues. We can hear speeches like this and try, and then we meet challenges and then we stop. So what are the possible challenges that we face, and how do we solve them?
Thank you. Finally, number 4. All of a sudden, I'm seeing more hands. We may do a second round, but so that he doesn't forget. Number 4, we will then come to maybe 2 more maximum.
Good afternoon, engineers. My name is Akanyune Christopher, representing Rojan Nigeria Limited. I'm grateful for this presentation, and I want to ask, based on some of my lectures or some arguments I received from Young Engineers Forum. I happen to be the secretary to YEFON, Abuja chapter. So there are some questions they raised about confinement of their activities within their workplace. Thank you. How do we solve this issue of confining an employee to a specific function within the organization by limiting them from studying wide in their respective careers? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have 4 very, very good questions. We may be able to do 1 or 2 others, but please do go ahead with your responses. And if you've forgotten any, just remind me.